Please don't judge the story of my life based on the chapter that you just walked in on. I don't know who said that, but a friend of mine posted it on their Instagram yesterday, and it got me thinking about the story of my life and the story of our lives. When we're approaching the story of our lives, sometimes we are our own worst enemy. Is there something in your life that feels that it's holding you where you are and you can't move forward? Maybe there is some experience that you've had in the past that's reaching its tentacles out into the future and stopping you from getting where you want to be. Well, sometimes we judge our own story of our lives based on the chapter that's already gone. And I want to share with you one thing that I think is really helpful when we are becoming mindful storytellers to help us write a story that is more helpful and constructive for our own lives going forward. Hi guys, Calvin again. Non-attachment. One word that really describes an approach to our stories, the way we appraise the story of our lives, but not just the way we appraise the story of our lives, how we live our lives generally. What is non-attachment? Well, first of all, I want to make the distinction between non-attachment and being detached. There is a difference, and I think it's probably best to describe non-attachment in another expression which Jesus was reputed to have said, in the world but not of the world. So what does that really mean, right? So for me, being in the world and not of the world epitomizes being non-attached. It means being here right now, enjoying everything as it happens, taking pleasure and delight in that hug or that kiss, taking pleasure or delight in that meal, that experience. I've recently had a number of wonderful experiences with family, connecting with loved ones, going back to places that I haven't been for many, many, many years, and delighting and savoring in the experience of that moment. But then the trick comes as a human being is to be able to take delight in that and leave it when it's finished. Not clinging and desiring to bring those experiences with us wherever we go, which then act as baggage. Now, the difference between being non-attached and being detached is that if you're detached, you're not even experiencing in the delights of the here and now. You are not connected to the experiences of the here and now. You are so far removed, you've almost lobotomized yourself to the degree that you are elsewhere, a kind of, shall we say, escape mechanism, or a switching off of our sensory experience to the here and now and to anything else for that matter. You know, think of those people who you know who seem very aloof, maybe even zombified. You know, not really engaging in any sort of, with any sense of aliveness, you know. Well, a kind of detachment in that sense is not really helpful for the way we appraise our stories or the way we live our lives. We want to be much more free, but still able to enjoy the moment. So what is non-attachment helpful for? Well, if you're familiar with my work, you will have seen a video I've created called Simplify Your Life. And this is all about how to reduce our ownership of physical possessions. Because one of the benefits of non-attachment is that possessions do not own us, we own them. So in other words, we can take delight in the things that we own and use them for their intended purpose, but they don't have a grip and hold over us. When we're attached to it, we're constantly longing and clinging on to these things. Now, how does this apply then to the story of our lives? Well, of course, the story of our lives are rich with emotion. Stories are recounting of past events and historical things that have taken place, and they often have a large emotional component for us. Now, imagine an experience that you're holding on to, something you can't let go. Either is something good or bad. I mean, attachment applies to both desirable things, things we're clinging onto and hoping that we can have now, but also those bad experiences that we also hold on to, which prevent us from embracing new relationships, living our lives to the full, opening our heart to new things for fear of being hurt or harmed. If we are able to let go then of those things that have happened, or bring certainly an attitude of non-attachment, to really have an intention to cast our lens across the events of our lives with an attitude of non-attachment, we can see more clearer. We can take the position of an observer watching a play rather than being the person in the play at the time. And that non-attachment helps us to release some of these things, and thereby releasing that releases it, then releases us. It no longer has the hold on us, really, is what I'm saying. It doesn't hold on to us in the same way that some of our possessions might hold on to us. So I'm drawing an analogy here between the possessions, the things, the physical things that we own, and also the experiences of our lives. The other thing it helps us to do is really appreciate the temporary nature of all things. When I was a child, my mother used to, I'd fall over and, hurt myself very obviously, subtly. But as a child, of course, you're crying, oh my God, oh my pain. And my mother would hold me and she would, really cuddle me into her bosom. And she would say, don't worry, my son, that too shall pass. That too shall pass. Now, of course, I would get more agitated and I'd be, I don't want to hear that. I want to wallow in the pain. I want to be held. I want to be cuddled. And I don't want anybody to tell me that this is going to pass. Because actually, secretly, I'm enjoying holding on to that pain right in that moment. So something really powerful about that statement, and I've come to learn and carry away, is that everything is temporary. All things are temporary. And you may have seen my talk on impermanence, and if you haven't, please go and see that. But I think this idea of non-attachment, it helps us to live in more appreciation and have greater appreciation, shall I say, for the impermanent nature of things. So it helps us to release by being non-attached, it helps for us to not be owned by the experiences of our lives, not be imprisoned, if you like, by the things that we own and the experiences that we've had. It helps us to appreciate the temporary nature of all things, and it helps us to live then as a consequence in greater freedom and spaciousness within ourselves. So imagine coming home to the present moment. Imagine that inside of you there is a brilliant oasis, a beautiful sphere of comfort and wholeness that is always there in the present moment right now. And from time to time we move out of the present into the future, into the past, but because the present moment is our anchor, we can move into the future and into the past with a sense of detachment. We can enjoy the things that are happening right now, or we could allow the things that are happening right now that we don't so much enjoy to take place with a sense of non-attachment, knowing that actually we can come back home to our inner reservoir at any time. I hope you found that quick video useful, and this week just focus on what you can let go of. And if there's one thing you can let go of, whether that's a physical possession or whether that's an experience of your life, no longer owning you and keeping you trapped and stuck where you are because you're longing for something that's happened to return. Invariably that happens to all of us. See what you can let go this week. Thank you so much for watching my video. Please like if you found it useful, subscribe, share, and if there's anything you want me to talk about in a future video, leave it in the comments below. See you next time. Bye for now.